On your knees, hands where I can see them. The shout cuts through the rain like a gunshot. John doesn't move, doesn't flinch. He just stands there soaked in a black hoodie, head down, palms open. He hears the footsteps before he feels the impact. A body slams into his back, driving him to the pavement. Gravel tears skin. A knee jams into his spine. "What's your name? You're selling something out here, huh?" The cop barks, breathing heavily. No answer. The silence isn't defiance. It's survival. John knows this routine. He's not new to this kind of racial profiling, not even with his name, not even with his face. "You deaf now? Answer me." Still nothing. The bystanders start to gather. One pulls out a phone. Someone gasps, but doesn't move. "Back up en route, possible suspect resisting." The officer speaks into his shoulder mic like he's performing. His voice shakes, not with fear, with adrenaline, with power. John feels the zip of the cuffs tightening, too tight. He's flat on the pavement now, face pressed into wet concrete, somewhere between humiliation and restraint. And still, he says nothing. Because he's not just protecting himself, he's measuring every breath, every blink, every move. Because in America, sometimes the wrong move in a hoodie gets you killed, even if you're John Legend. "You think you're tough, huh? Just another punk in a hoodie?" The officer sneers, pushing harder between John's shoulder blades. The pressure is sharp. He bites down on the pain. "I asked you a question, or do you need help answering it?" The other cop, younger, uncertain, shifts nervously behind him. His eyes flicker to the crowd gathering now. Phones up, recording. "Hey man, wait, do you even know who that is?" The officer doesn't turn around. He just chuckles under his breath. "Yeah, I know exactly who he is." "No, you don't, man. Don't tell me how to do my job." The officer cuts him off like a blade. Another person speaks up, nervous. "He hasn't said a word. You just tackled him for what?" No answer. John feels the heat building behind him, the way eyes are shifting, whispers starting. But the man on his back still doesn't look up. Still hasn't seen his face. Still doesn't know he just handcuffed a Grammy winner in an alley because of a hoodie. The officer turns finally, eyes on the crowd, then back down at John. "Y'all need to calm down. This ain't about who he is, it's about what he looks like." The crowd goes quiet for a half second. Just another thug in a hoodie. That's it. The words land like punches. John doesn't twitch, doesn't rise to it, because he's heard worse from worse. But this isn't about name recognition anymore. It's about the lie so many cops tell themselves, that the hoodie makes the man. John finally speaks. His voice is low, muffled against the pavement, but clear. "You've already made your mind up. That's the problem." The officer stiffens. For a split second, the weight shifts off his back, then slams down again, harder. It's not the words that rattled him. It's calm. The kind of calm that says, "I've survived worse than you. I just hoped we were past this." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Someone shouts, for real this time, voice rising like an alarm bell. "Wait, yo, that's John Legend." The officer pauses. Just a blink. But the damage is done. The cuffs are already locked. The footage is already rolling. And the truth, too late to unsee.
"Ain't you supposed to have a bodyguard or something?" John smiles, barely. "Keep walking. No entourage, no handlers. Just cracked sidewalks and the smell of street tacos." He pulls the hoodie up, not to hide, but to feel closer. closer to who he was before the stages, before the awards, before they knew his name, but still treated him like he was dangerous. He passes a mural of someone long gone, shot 2 blocks from here. No plaque, no hashtag, just fading paint. A voice calls out, "Yo, that's... Nah, can't be." But no one follows. He doesn't break stride. Because today, he's not here to be seen. He's here to remember who he is, where he came from, and what it still costs to walk these streets in a hoodie. Fame doesn't fix perception. The voiceover is quiet, tired. You can sell out arenas, shake hands with presidents, and still get followed in a store like you're stealing. He crosses the street slowly, hands in pockets. A car pauses, then locks its doors. Racial injustice don't care about Grammys. He glances at his reflection in a dark shop window. The hoodie, the skin, the silence. Funny how they see you. Even funnier when they don't. She's at the bus stop, singing under her breath. Off-key, raw, but there's something in it. Something real. John waits a second, then asks, "That your song?" She's startled, doesn't recognize him. "Nah, just something I made up. It doesn't matter." "Why not?" She shrugs. "Ain't got money for real lessons, plus nobody from here makes it." John nods. He doesn't correct her. Don't say, "Actually, I did." Instead, he asks her name. 3 days later, she gets an email from a foundation she's never heard of. Full scholarship, mentorship, studio time. She never connects it to the quiet man in the hoodie who listened. And he never tells her, because this wasn't about being seen. It was about seeing her. The hoodie doesn't make him invisible. It just makes him easy to ignore, or easier to label. A woman across the street grips her purse. A store owner glances up, scans, then watches too long. Every move he makes feels like a test. He keeps walking on anyway, because being invisible is its own kind of danger, especially when you're black and breathing. There's no bodyguard for perception, no off switch for microaggressions in public spaces, just tension, just assumptions, just waiting for the wrong second to become the second. "Everything all right here?" The voice drips slowly, not concerned. Control. John looks up from his coffee. The waitress freezes, eyes darting between them. Officer Kent rests one hand on his belt, the other on the table, right next to John's phone. John stays calm. "Yeah, just grabbing breakfast." Kent's gaze lingers too long, scanning him, judging the hoodie, measuring him like a suspect, not a man. "You from around here?" "Used to be." "Used to be," Kent echoes, nodding, like he's heard a confession. He glances at the staff. "Funny, a lot of folks used to be, till the neighborhood changed." John doesn't respond, doesn't flinch, just sips his coffee and lets the tension sit heavy between them. Kent smiles, tight and fake, then leans in, just making sure there's no trouble brewing. Then he's gone, like he never said anything wrong. But the whole diner stays silent, because everyone heard what he really meant. "Are we good here?" John asks, catching the waitress's eye. Before she can speak, Kent cuts in. "Didn't ask you." Smiles again, that same fake, calm threat. He leans over, says something low to the waitress. John can't hear it, but he sees her nod, nervous. Kent drops a few dollars on the counter, never breaking eye contact. "Enjoy your day, while you can." He walks out like he owns the place, and John's left sitting in silence, heart steady, but mind already spinning, because that wasn't about a meal. It was a warning. John steps outside, air thicker now. As he heads toward his car, he spots it. Kent, parked across the street, the window cracked, phone raised. Snap. Quick,
deliberate, the lens aimed straight at John's license plate. John stops mid-step, locks eyes across the street. Kent smiles, doesn't even try to hide it. Just rolls the window up and drives off slow, real slow. No lights, no words, just the silent threat of being watched. John exhales, jaw tight. It's not a bullet, not yet. But in this system, a photo can be just as dangerous, especially when it's backed by a badge and a lie. Didn't expect to see you again. Kent's voice echoes through the hallway of the community center. John's mentoring a group of kids like he once was. Kent watches from the doorway like he owns the place. You giving lectures now? Kent smirks. Funny, this neighborhood doesn't need more noise. John straightens up. They're not noisy, they're voices. Maybe you're just not used to listening. Kent steps closer, voice low and tight. I see everything, John. Doesn't matter how many songs you sing or how many cameras like you. He taps the badge on his chest. This still gets the last word. John doesn't blink, doesn't move. But every kid in the room watches, eyes wide, learning something unspoken. That no matter how much you've done, no matter who you are, sometimes a hoodie is all they'll see.
Get on the ground now. Tires screeched. Red and blue flash behind John as he reached for his car door. What the hell? Hands where I can see 'em. A second cop barreled forward, guns drawn, no warning, no questions, just weapons and shouting. John freezes, palms open, confused. He looks straight at Kent, recognizes him. Officer Kent, I think there's been a... I said on the damn ground. Kent's voice cuts through him like glass. John lowers himself, slowly, calm, calculated, because he knows one wrong move gets him killed. But inside, panic. Not again. Not like this. Not after everything. He tries to speak, voice shaking. Before he finishes, an officer lunges, grabbing his arms and slamming him chest first to the pavement. Knees pin his back. Elbows grind against bone. A boot crushes his phone. I didn't do anything, he chokes out. Kent snarls over him. That's what they all say. My name is... Click. Zzz. John's body convulses mid-sentence. The taser rips through him, his scream cut short. Face hits pavement. Blood mixes with gravel. Shut the hell up. Kent spits it like venom, voice shaking with rage he can't explain. Or maybe he can. You think your little fame matters out here, in this neighborhood? Out here, you're just another thug in a hoodie. John silenced his last defense. But the crowd, they heard it, and now the phones are catching more than abuse. They're catching the truth. Upload it. Now. The woman with the pink nails trembles as she taps her screen. The clip's only a minute long, but every second burns. What should I caption it? She whispers. Her friend looks at her, voice shaking. Just say what it is. Unarmed black man assaulted by cops. Send. Another post goes up, another retweet, another person watching without knowing it's John Legend they're looking at. And somehow, that makes it worse. Because fame should have protected him, but the hoodie made sure no one looked close enough. And now the internet is watching live injustice without a name. Just a man, bleeding, in cuffs. A symbol, a warning, a hashtag waiting to happen. They shove him in like he's nothing. Head hits the doorframe, knees jammed, wrists aching. The back seat stinks of sweat and silence. John lifts his head, slow, catches one last glimpse of the crowd, eyes wide, mouths open. Someone's crying, someone's still filming, but no one moves, because if they do, they know the cuffs could be theirs. Kent slams the door. No words, no charges, no explanation, just the quiet echo of power misused. Bro, it's everywhere. Screens lit up the dark like wildfire. By sunrise, it had gone viral with 2 million views and rising. No one knew his name yet. It didn't matter. It was the way he hit the ground, the tone in that cop's voice, the silence as he bled. Unarmed, didn't resist, didn't speak. Comments poured in. This could have been my brother. This is why we're afraid to wear hoodies. They treated him like a criminal before they even asked a question. Some were in denial. Let's wait for the facts. He must have done something. But truth didn't wait this time. The clip kept playing. The scream, the taser, the slur. TikTok, Twitter, YouTube shorts. Racial injustice wasn't new, but this one hit different. He never raised his voice, never made a move, still ended up face down, cuffed, and humiliated. And the pain in his eyes? That was what haunted people. Not because he was famous, because he looked like all of us. Wait, pause it, zoom in, that's... The comments started shifting. Why does he look familiar? That voice, nah, that's not who I think it is. Y'all, that's John Legend. Screenshots exploded. A side-by-side. That busted lip, same scar from an old album cover. Then someone dropped a tour photo. Same shoes, same hoodie, same man. It went from outrage to shock in seconds. John Legend got tased by cops and they didn't even know who he was! People didn't believe it until the slow-motion replays started hitting every feed. He tried to say his name. They didn't listen. They didn't care. Suddenly, this wasn't just a police brutality story. It was proof that no amount of money, fame, or talent could shield black skin from suspicion. The story became unavoidable. Discrimination didn't flinch, not even at a Grammy. Hashtag not just a hoodie hit trending within the hour. Black parents posted photos of their kids in sweatshirts, captioned, "My baby, my future, not your threat." Celebrities joined in. If they can do this to John, what chance do the rest of us have? We're not safe in boardrooms or back seats. A hoodie isn't a weapon. Protest signs, hashtags, commentary. It all collided. But none of it felt performative. This wasn't clout chasing. It was grief. It was rage. Because deep down, everybody knew, if the cameras hadn't been rolling, we might have just been reading another name, another trending hashtag without a pulse behind it. He can sing in jail for all I care. The words slithered from Kent's mouth on leaked body cam footage. He was laughing, still sweating from the arrest, still drunk on control. His voice wasn't angry, it was casual cruelty, like John's life was a joke, like pain was entertainment. The internet didn't miss it. Clips stitched across platforms. Kent's smirk, John bleeding, the slur, the punchline. No edits needed, just raw racism in 4K. The backlash was immediate. He can't wear a badge again. Fire him. No pension, no desk duty, gone. This isn't training failure. This is hate with a gun. The system could no longer hide behind procedure. The police chief held a press conference. Mics, cameras, and a half-hearted statement. Officer Kent has been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Translation: suspended, But the crowd outside wasn't clapping. They weren't fooled by silence in a suit. "That's it. He's on vacation while John can't walk straight. This ain't justice, it's a timeout." The streets didn't calm, they roared louder, because for once the world saw everything, and they weren't letting go. His voice was raspy, bruised, but clear. "They didn't know my name, and that's the point." John stood before a mic, hoodie zipped high. No glam, no piano, just the truth. "To them, I wasn't a father, a husband, a creator. I was a threat in fabric." Silence. Every camera locked in. "I didn't speak up to clear my name. I'm speaking for every black man who couldn't, for every woman harassed, every child profiled, every person who stood up for themselves and got stomped instead." He didn't flinch, didn't cry. He just stared into the lens. "I almost became a headline, but I won't let this story end with me." And behind him, the crowd rose, not to sing, but to speak.
Effective immediately, Officer Kent has been terminated. The press room went silent. Then it erupted. He wasn't just suspended this time. He was gone. A history of complaints surfaced, microaggressions, excessive force, dozens of reports buried under red tape, until the viral video cracked it all wide open. The city launched a full investigation, not just into Kent, but into the entire precinct culture that protected him. This wasn't one bad apple. It was a rotten tree, said one councilwoman. And for once, accountability didn't end with a hashtag. It ended with a badge dropped on a desk, a gun turned in, a man stripped of the power he abused. But it wasn't justice, not yet. "I wore a hoodie to blend in. Now I wear it to stand out." John announced the Hoodie Project with no stage, no lights, just a purpose. $1 million, scholarships, legal support, workshops on dismantling bias in policing. Every sweatshirt would fund change. Every kid in a hoodie would be seen. "We're redefining what this fabric means," he said. "Not fear, not a threat, just life." Schools signed up, churches opened doors, even corporate sponsors couldn't look away. The hoodie wasn't the enemy. The silence had been. And now the world was finally ready to listen. "She's next, not me. Her." John motioned to the young girl from the bus stop. The crowd turned. She stood, shaking, then solid. Her voice cracked at first, then soared. No auto-tune, no backup, just truth in melody. "We ain't invisible anymore." People wept, not because she was flawless, but because he believed in her before anyone saw her. She didn't need to stand up for herself this time. The world finally made space. A voice once silenced became the echo of change. A little boy stopped him on the street. "You still wearing it?" John smiled, tugged the hoodie tighter. "Every day." No guards, no cameras, just him. Same cracked sidewalks, same streets where he was tackled. But this time, he wasn't afraid. Because fear had filmed him, and truth had set fire to it. John walked on, not invisible, not erased, just seen. Don't act like you don't see it. That look in the store, that slow follow in the aisle, that seat that stays empty next to you. This isn't just John's story.
it's yours too. How many more have to bleed before belief, before cameras count, before silence ends, before a hoodie stops being a warning sign? One man was enough, but it never stops at one. Comment if you felt it. Tag someone who needs to hear it. Repost for the ones who never got back up. Don't let the fire die down. Be the match, a symbol, a stand, a story still unfolding. Hashtag, not just a hoodie.